Yeah! Here we go now, baby. We are right back into the action for another day of the week. Welcome to the Friday edition of Before You Bet, right here on the Covers YouTube channel. Make sure you smash that subscribe button right down there. So, quick housekeeping item off the top. This is the Friday show, but it is not airing live. We're actually recording this on Thursday afternoon to accommodate a little trip I'm taking to Philadelphia to watch some sporting events. We'll be documenting all that on the Covers Instagram channel. Instagram page, so make sure you follow Covers Sports. So yeah, this is being recorded on Thursday, so if you're listening to this and there's a game that's a point off or an injury to a player that comes out and you're wondering, hey, they missed that one, that is the reason why, because we're recording it a day early, but we will be back to regular programming next week. So we got a lot to get into today. I think 11 total picks in his traditional Friday spot. Joining me, my guy, my coworker here at Covers, the pride of Halifax, Nova Scotia, Ro, I got to ask you, your Detroit Lions, nice bounce back on Monday. Bye this week. How do you feel about them going into the second half of the season?
Feeling pretty good. Obviously, some hiccups there. Don't necessarily think we're ready for that Super Bowl jump just yet, but looking like we should win this division now. I thought they were going to win the North for a while, and now with that injury to Cousins, the Packers, can't score. The Bears are the Bears. We're definitely, I think, it would be complete disappointment if we didn't win the North at this point, and then hopefully we can maybe at least sneak a win or two in the playoffs.
Okay, so a lot to get into here. Mixed bag, teasers, totals, spreads, props. I will start, like I always do, with my favorite 6-point teaser. For the weekend, we got burned quite badly by the Kansas City Chiefs. Absolutely no showing in Denver last week. Hopefully that won't be the case this week, where I will be pairing the New Orleans Saints down to -2.5 with the Seattle Seahawks up to +12. So crossing key numbers for both teams, getting the Saints through the 7 and the 3. Take the Seahawks through to the 7 and 10, gives them an excellent cushion in Baltimore against the Ravens. So the Saints offense, new life. Bears defense getting crushed in general, especially on the road. But check out New Orleans coming off their best offensive game of the season. Dropped 38 points and 511 yards on the Colts. It was the third straight game that Derek Carr threw for 300-plus yards. I think this matchup with the Bears sets up nicely for him. Chicago is allowing the third most passing yards per game and has a league low 10 sacks, generating the second lowest pressure. As for the other leg on the teaser, Seattle closer better than Baltimore in many key stats, with both playing a similar strength of schedule. I like Seattle on the 6. I especially like them at 12. Not far behind in terms of net yards per play. The rush defense is better, doing a better job at pressuring the opposing quarterback. Seattle also really plays up to the competition. Check out this trend. Under Pete Carroll, they've gone 19-5 against the spread as an underdog of 4 or more, going all the way back to 2011. Conversely, the Ravens, a brutal 4-13 against spread in their last 17 as a favorite of 4 or more. And we're taking this all the way up to 12. So Saints, Seahawks, my favorite teaser of the week. And Ro, you are in agreement with me on the Seahawks. You like them to cover that +6 number. Break it down for us.
Yeah, I mean, I even have one of those trends that you just mentioned in there as well for a reason. I love Seattle in this spot. I mean, you look at them; they've been playing pretty well lately. 5-1 straight up in their last 6 games. Only lost during that span, coming by 4 points against the Bengals. This is a team with some pretty good weapons offense and a really solid front 7 on defense that just got better after trading for Leonard Williams. And I think that trade, in a lot of ways, it makes for a really good kind of feeling inside that locker room. I think this is a team that wants to win now. They know that they are capable of winning, and it really shows their commitment to, not playing for the future here. You look at the Ravens, and they're a team that has always really kind of run the ball at a really high level, highest, rush percentage in the league this year. But the Seahawks are doing a really good job of bottling up the run. Third in yards allowed per carry, 4th in success rate against the run. So I think this is a really good matchup for them. And then like that trend that you mentioned, the Ravens just don't do a good job of covering those big spreads. 4-14 against the spread when laying 4 or more points since the start of the 2021 season. So lots of reasons to like Seattle in the spot. Obviously, I think Baltimore has a really good team, but this is just too many points to spot them here.
Yeah, we also see the Ravens take their foot off the gas a little bit in the fourth quarter of their games. Check out their losses to the Colts and the Steelers this season. So maybe it would be a backdoor cover situation. If it comes to that, I would like the Seahawks to sneak right in there. Okay, my favorite over bet of the weekend. We're going to check out the Colts and Panthers. And number sitting there at 44. Absolutely love the over on this one. So check out the Colts' last 3 games. They've gone over and averaged 66.3 points per game. All 3 easily went over. This high-scoring pattern began when Gardner Minshew officially became the starter, and I don't think there's been enough of an adjustment to their totals. Plenty of high-scoring games for the Panthers lately, too. 3 of their last 5 reached 63 or more points, so expect more touchdowns than field goal attempts in this one as well. Dig into some stats. 31st and 24th in red zone defense. Give me the over between the Colts and the Panthers. Ro, you like an over bet as well. The Sunday Nighter. Break it down for us.
Sure do. I mean, we're not getting the best number here. This number opened, I think, at like 47, which is pretty crazy. But I love the over still between the Bengals and Bills. Right now, sitting at 49.5. I mean, we're talking about a pair of Pro Bowl quarterbacks on either side. 2 of the best wideouts in the game in Diggs and Chase. You look at this Bengals offense, and it's trending up. 30-plus points in 2 of the last 3 games. Burrow finally looks healthy, and he's slinging the ball again. And then you look at this Bills defense, and it is trending down. They're 25th in yards allowed per play, 31st in yards allowed per rush. And, injuries have played a big role in that. Season-ending injuries to Tre'Davious White, Matt Milano, Daquan Jones, maybe, the sort of player that flies under the radar at that defensive tackle spot, but meant a lot to that run defense. So losing 3 key pieces at every level of the defense sure hurts. And now they've also got banged-up guys in Kyer Elam, DeMar Hamlin in their secondary as well. So, I mean, lots of reasons to think that the Bills might not be quite as good defensively as maybe some of their numbers would suggest. But on the other side of the ball, the Bills are rolling. They're second in offensive EPA, first in success rate, third in yards per play, second in red zone conversion rate, near the top of the league in pretty much every offensive metric. And the Bengals are a team that, is really kind of taking a step back on defense from the last couple of years. A big reason for that, of course, is losing both safeties in the offseason. They let Von Bell and Jesse Bates leave in free agency. That has really hurt them. They're 29th in yards allowed per pass attempt, 30th in yards allowed per completion. And they're also struggling to defend tight ends this year. And I think all those are really bad for them against the Bills, because this is a team that, weirdly enough, after losing Dawson Knox to that injury, they've actually kind of gotten better on offense. They've unleashed Dalton Kincaid at tight end. They're going to those 3 wide receiver sets, and they love to attack deep. So, I'm expecting a shootout here, and I love the over.
All right, let us keep on rolling. So from a pretty game to a couple ugly ones I'm looking at here. You guys know I love my under bets. I like the under, specifically in Bucks Texans. The number is at 40. Give me the under. These teams have combined to go under in 11 of 14 games this season. With the total set at 40, it's worth mentioning that these teams have failed to cross 40 combined points in 10 of their 14 combined games. The Bucks, 27th in scoring this season. They've scored 18 or less in 4 of their last 5. Check out the Texans. Their defense is thriving after a slow start. They've allowed 17 or fewer points per game in 4 of their last 5. And this is a great red zone matchup for an under. 26th and 28th in red zone offense versus 1st and 7th in red zone defense. So give me the under between the Bucks and Texans. Ro, your favorite prop of the weekend. Line it up for us. What do we got?
Loving the over 5.5 receptions for Garrett Wilson, taking on the Chargers here. It's Monday Night Football. Should be a good game. You're getting this at pretty decent plus money right now. It's plus 130 over at DraftKings. Zach Wilson is getting more comfortable under center. He might never live up to that second pick overall draft status, but he's doing a decent job there. And Wilson is his number 1 target. 7 catches for a season high 100 yards last week. This guy was a fantastic rookie last year. And you look at him recently, and he's been getting a ton of targets. He has at least 7 catches and at least 12 targets in 3 of the last 4 games. And the Chargers are terrible against the pass. 29th in defensive dropback EPA, dead last in passing yards allowed per game. So this is a pretty easy play for me. I'm also looking at the Jets on the spread, to be perfectly honest with you, plus 3.5. I mean, obviously the Chargers, good offense, terrible defense. Jets are, good defense, kind of not so great offense, but I definitely trust the Jets offense more than I trust the Chargers defense. And getting spotted more than 3 points at home is pretty nice place as well.
Yeah, I will be in attendance for that one. Should be an ugly game. I am leaning over in that one. Okay, speaking of ugliness, back to me for two more under bets. Cardinals versus Browns. I love under 37.5 for this one. Let's dig in. So Arizona's road under record plus Cleveland's home under record, 6-1-1. Cleveland has allowed just 12.8 points per game in 4 home games. Arizona averaging 12.8 points per game on the road. Expect a lot of punts in this game. The Browns, 31st in third down offense, but first in third down defense. I absolutely love the under. That should be an ugly one in Cleveland. Next up, speaking of ugly, I don't know if it gets any uglier than this. We have the New York Giants in Las Vegas to take on the Raiders. Once again, a total of 37.5. Once again, give me the under. These teams are a combined 13-3 to the under this season. They've combined the top 20 points in just 2 of 16 combined games. Dig into some stats: 30th and 32nd in scoring, 27th and 32nd in yards per play, both among the worst in the league on third down and in the red zone. Expect punts and field goal attempts in this game. Giants defense really starting to come around. Give them a little bit of credit for something. 14, 7, and 13 points allowed in their last 3 games. New York's offensive line, though, gives them no chance. 41 sacks allowed this season. Darren Waller also ruled out, one of their big weapons, if you want to call him that. So, yeah, under 37 in Las Vegas between the Giants and the Raiders. Ro, you had a thought on that game that you want to share as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's a prop play I might really like. Depends what the number comes out as. Still hasn't come out as of Thursday afternoon when we're taping the show. But it's the over on Josh Jacobs' receptions. We're going to have Aiden O'Connell at quarterback in this game. And the last time O'Connell started, Jacobs was targeted 11 times in the passing game and had 8 catches. Now, rookie quarterbacks, they often look for those quick outlet passes, and those should be employed even more in this matchup since the Giants blitz at the second highest rate in the league. Now, Jacobs also has only 5 total catches in his last 3 games, so hopefully we're not going to see a number that's too inflated here. So definitely something I'm keeping an eye on. Definitely keep follow me on Twitter there. I'll as soon as that number drops, I'll let you guys know what I'm thinking. But as of right now, I think the over on his receptions might be a good play.
Okay, speaking of following you on Twitter, what else do you have going on this week that the viewers can check out?
Yeah, I mean, big one for me coming up for next week is, the start of the college basketball season. I got a nice little article out on Covers right now, 5 bets you have to make before the season tips off. They're 5 of my favorite futures bets, so definitely something to look forward to. And then, of course, we're coming at you with UFC Fight Night action. We've got our pound-for-pound picks coming tomorrow. I've got my thoughts on the main event written in a preview at covers.com. This should be a good little event. It's a fight night event, but lots of fights I'm excited for.
There we go, Ro, covering a little bit of everything for us here at Covers. So, Ro, thank you very much for joining. Best of luck with your bets this weekend. We'll catch you again next week.
Best of luck, Joe.
Indeed. The big NFL show on Friday. You know who we're going to be bringing in now? Professional sports bettor Hitman. Let's bring him in here. He's going to break my heart here with one of his picks. And we'll hit on some topics here. So his 3 best bets. So first of all, how you doing? How you feeling at the midway point of the season here?
I'm a little tired, a little bit drained right now.
Same.
It kind of during the off season, I'm getting a lot more golf in. I'm getting a lot more pool days in and stuff like that. And during these 6 months, it's just work. On Sundays, Mondays, it's like a 16-hour day, Joe. So, and then Wednesdays, Tuesdays, a little easier, but kind of ready for the off season. But we got a lot more money to still make, so we can enjoy it.
Yeah, it's a good grind, but it is a good way to make a living for sure. So let's discuss a couple of these games here. A couple of them are your best bets, a couple of the sexier games too. Let's start in Germany. I think my Dolphins match up kind of well with the Kansas City Chiefs, but you do not. You like the Chiefs here. Tell us why.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to sound square, but we're getting Patrick Mahomes in a game that he just has to win the game pretty much at -1, -1.5 right now. It's appealing when you break it down just like that. And this has been a Miami team that has struggled when they've stepped up in competition. The two games that they played against the other top tier teams in the NFL this year, against Buffalo and Philadelphia, end up not having the best effort. And then if you just look at the three teams that we would qualify as having top-end quarterbacks or front-end offenses in the Chargers, the Eagles, and in the Buffalo Bills, they allowed 34, 48, and 31 points. They allowed 9.3 yards per pass attempt in those games. I know that they have Jalen Ramsey back now, but it's still a defense that has really underperformed this year. And then the Dolphins offense, we know they're a great offense. I'm not denying that. But the one bugaboo that they've had is when Tua is under pressure, has not been the same quarterback. When he's been under pressure, has the league's second lowest completion percentage against pressure. The one player that had the lowest was Jimmy Garoppolo, who's no longer a starter right now. The Chiefs with Chris Jones and George Karlaftis, really underrated pass rush. Think that the Chiefs defense is underrated in this spot. They could get some pressure on Tua, and they could give you a bad morning, Joe.
Yeah, I do think that is what the game will come down to. Also, what the total for the game too, how Miami's offensive line reacts to the pressure that Kansas City is going to bring. Who knows? Teron Armstead could be back. We probably won't find out till closer to the game. I took Chiefs under their team total of 26.5. I think Miami's defense shapes up pretty good. Let's look at the Sunday nighter here. Another fun game. Bills in Cincinnati, taking on the Bengals, who are rebounding pretty good. 3 straight wins, including the big one in San Francisco. What do you like for this game?
I like over 49.5 in this game. Yes, last year totals were a lot higher in general in the NFL, but this total closed 51 on Monday Night Football last year. Both offenses dominated early in that game before the game ended up being canceled. And then if you look at the playoff game, it closed 49 in really bad weather. So this was a matchup last year where we were expecting a lot of points. And now you look at what's changed from this year. Well, the offenses are pretty similar, but the defenses for both teams have gotten significantly worse. Buffalo's defense is 29th in EPA per play since week 5 when injuries really began to take their toll. The Bengals defense is 26 in defensive pass success rate this season. Buffalo's offense trending up. They're starting to run Josh Allen again. 7 carries for 41 yards last week. The Dawson Knox injuries led to a lot more spread, 3-4 wide receiver sets for Buffalo. They had the highest pass rate over expectation of the season last week. They went with a 32% no huddle rate, the Bills' highest no huddle rate in 4 years. And then Joe Burrow. I mean, has anybody been more upgraded off of last week? That performance looks like he's back and he could take advantage of a good matchup. And Joe, one last thing. The Bengals lead the NFL in pass rate over expectation the last 5 weeks. So I think we're going to get a pass-heavy game script from both teams.
Yeah, the Bengals, I know that they typically get off that slow start. It was a slow start on steroids this season, due primarily, I think, to the Joe Burrow injury. But he looks back and he is said to be at 100%. So that should be a fun game where the Bills defense really gets challenged. Let's wrap up your picks. You're fading a specific running back. What do we got here?
Yeah, I like Alexander Madison under 44.5 rushing yards. So let's just start off with the matchup. The Falcons are first in run defense at EPA. Not many people are aware of that, but this has been a really good run defense this year. No Kirk Cousins in this game. Some people might think, like, oh, are the Vikings going to run the ball more? Yeah, they're probably going to have a higher run rate than they did before. But remember, we're likely to get way less favorable game scripts. They're a 5-point underdog at the moment, and a lot more stacked boxes that are going to go against Alexander Madison. He's been a really inefficient runner this year to begin with. Cam Akers starting to get a lot more snaps. He's gotten 30% of the snaps over the past few weeks. The Vikings have said we're going to ride the hot hand. The hot hand could easily be Cam Akers in this game. I mean, last week, Alexander Madison, 17 touches for 33 total yards. So I don't know how great his job security is at the moment either. So I think we have a lot of outs in this one.
Any thoughts? We don't need an official pick by any means. You can give one if you want. But this Seattle-Baltimore game, I think it's too many points, up to 6 at some places. What are you thinking for this matchup?
Yeah, I had the exact same lean, Joe. I haven't bet it yet, but it's getting high. This number, the Seahawks defense, since they got healthy together since week 4, their pass defense is first in the NFL in EPA per dropback, 5th in passing success rate. It's been against a weak opposing schedule, but this is still an improving defense, and we know that their run defense is good. They're allowing a league low 3.1 yards per carry to opposing backs. And then if you look at the offensive side of the ball, a lot of positive regression coming for Seattle. Over the last 3 games alone, Seahawks have 7 drives that have reached the opposition's 27, 16, 9, 6, 5, 3, and 2-yard lines. Only 6 points on those drives due to 3 turnovers and 2 turnover on down. So they have a lot of positive regression coming. I haven't bet it yet, but Seattle plus 6 has been a consideration of mine.
Okay. Last question, big picture question. So we're at, I guess, what you call the unofficial halfway point of the season. Are there any teams that you are upgrading or downgrading going into the second half? So pretty much, do you think there's any teams that will have a much better second half than they did first, or teams that could potentially fall off a cliff here?
Well, the one upgrade is, it's funny, like with betting, we're told not to overreact to 1 week. So typically, like if I'm going to change my power ratings, if a team has a really good game, like the most I'll upgrade them is 1 point. I don't think I ever upgraded a team more than I upgraded Cincinnati.
I knew that was coming.
After that game against the Niners. And it was just because it was our reaffirmation, like Joe Burrow is 100%. And now I'm willing to just throw out pretty much the first 5-6 games of the year and say, you know what, the Bengals, I'm just going back to what my preseason expectations were on this team, which was an 11 and a half win team. So that's the team that I've upgraded the most going into the second half of the year. And if I had to think of a team that probably got downgraded the most, there's so many. There's so many bad teams in the league right now, Joe. You could think of the Raiders. You could think of the Vikings, the Rams if Stafford's not healthy. I'll go with Washington. They've really taken a big downgrade because their defense was really bad to begin with. The one thing that they had was their front 4, and now you lost your pass rush, and you already had a pathetically bad secondary.
Yeah, I saw a tweet about all the bad quarterbacks or these guys, some like nothing but guys you barely even heard of potentially set to start this weekend in the NFL. So I feel pretty good.
It feels like we're doing the XFL or something again, you know?
Yeah, it is great. Quite crazy. It can make for some entertaining football sometimes. Like sometimes it's so bad that it is actually entertaining. I really enjoyed that Giants versus Jets game. I was on the under. However, I'm a Jets hater because I'm a Miami Dolphins fan. So I was unhappy with the final result of that game.
And I'll give you some live betting advice. Like you see a game like that Jets-Giants game where it's pretty apparent that the Giants have zero faith in their quarterback, and they're essentially running a wildcat offense in bad conditions, in rain. A lot of times those are some of the best live betting opportunities you can make, whether you're betting receivers to go under or just the games to go under. A lot of good opportunities with some bad quarterbacks sometimes.
Yeah, old Tommy DeVito was not the answer quarterback there for the Giants. Very entertaining stuff. Hitman, we will leave it at that. Thank you, as always, for joining us. Best of luck with your bets this weekend. We'll catch you again next week.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. In and out. A bit of a condensed show today, kind of, a little bit. But we will leave it at that. Hopefully cash in here. We've been doing pretty good on these Friday shows throughout the season. So hopefully we finish in the black for this one, guys. If you like the show, it's very easy to let us know. Hit that like button right down there. Make sure you are also subscribed. Our fancy graphic there that costs thousands of dollars, actually. Make sure you are subscribed to the Covers YouTube channel. Tons of content up on the Covers channel here. If there's a game you're wondering about that we didn't break down on the show today, we have a video up for every single NFL game. If you're wondering about college football, a lot of content on there as well with Brad Powers. So that's it. We will leave it at that. I am off to Philadelphia this weekend. I will be in attendance for Eagles, Cowboys. I'm super pumped about that. I will also be in attendance for Chargers, Jets on Monday Night Football. You follow along on Instagram. Best of luck with your bets this weekend. We'll see you next time.